Hi, Leo. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi there, I'm Leo Whitehorse. I'm originally from South Dakota. I come from the Rosebud Sioux Reservation in Rosebud, South Dakota.
Can you tell us a little about yourself and your ties to this area?
I'm a graphic artist still, as well as a fine arts native artist. I've been doing it for, I don't know, ever since a little kid. My dad used to give me sketches and I used to kind of draw in the missing pieces, so he kind of taught me how to do it, or got me interested in it anyway. And my connection here was I came to visit my brother because he's going to school here, and he eventually went back to South Dakota, and I decided I liked it here, so I stayed here. The description of my art would be that it's Lakota style artwork. It's basically an expression of what was around me, or what cultural things that I knew of, or my elders, talked about. And mine is kind of I guess, a more modern view of it, due to the fact that I use some computers and some of it, but most of it's just traditional style artwork, using, I guess, colors and just the imagery that you get from like powwows and being around on the reservation. What you'd see, luckily we had buffalo and horses and things that were kind of like more like what you would see on television. So those things kind of work its way into it. And when I was, my parents died, I guess when I was 11, and then I got sent to a boys' home in South Dakota, where they sent me to Vermilion, South Dakota, for a art summer program, and where I learned, or I seen an exhibit they had called, or I don't know what it was called then, but it was of Oscar Howe. He's a Lakota artist, and they. So in the week that I was supposed to be there learning something, I ended up kept going to the exhibit and studying his artwork. And they had probably about a year ago now, they had that same a traveling exhibit with the same artwork in it in Portland, called Dakota Modern. And I didn't realize what I'd seen when I was 11, and now to see it again, I'm still trying to use that as an inspiration for what I do, and I still do. I think he's a really fantastic artist, and he also was an advocate for native art, and that some of the things that, if you ever get a chance to see it, it's well worth it. He captured something that I can't quite describe, but it has the soul of what the Lakota people were, are still are, and we're, I guess, fighting to get back to that, learning our language, and I guess just trying to have a sense of where we came from. We need to learn that, and nourish that and bring that back. That the younger people need to learn a lot of things about where they came from. So.
Would you say that there were a lot of Native or Indigenous artists or authors when you were younger? I know you just explained
Right.
one that you look up to, but did you have a lot of other role models, for example?
Um, that was one of them. There was a lot of for. It seemed to me as a kid that a lot of Native children knew how to, do artwork and stuff, or they always were drawing something or doing something like that. So you had a bunch of people around you that uh, did the same thing, and it was kind of a neat thing. I mean, so in some ways, I don't really take what I do for a living. I mean, a living and my artwork. There's, I don't really have this ego about it. It's more that it's just something I do because I did it as a kid and they did it as a kid. It was not like anything special. It's just something that you do that, you know, you're trying to, as one artist said, that artwork is an expression of something that probably can't be verbally translated. So by me doing what I do, I'm trying to express a feeling or an idea without not necessarily have the words to translate that. So that was kind of what my artwork is doing, is trying to, I feel that if I do a good enough job at it, that people will see that and they think there's more to it than just, oh, what a pretty picture that is. You're trying to express something that they, and if you do it, I think well enough, I think people actually recognize that and they see something in themselves that, helps them do it, whether it inspires them or they just like it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, I guess.
Do you think that, because you mentioned when you were younger that a lot of other Native kids did art, do you think that was nourished by the community or their parents or like within an academic setting, or is that kind of something that they pursued of their own volition?
While we were in boarding school, you had after breakfast, you went in this meeting room, basically, so all us kids were in the same room. So you were sitting there and you had paper to draw stuff, and they'd kind of keep you occupied, is what the people watching us were trying to do. So you'd sit there and draw different things, and that I think it was, I don't know if it was just a community thing, so you felt comfortable in that situation doing that, and nobody made fun of you, and they didn't. So I think it was just something that, but I don't know that outside of that atmosphere, that I mean, we were sitting in an age when the government figured we were one of the generations that had finally been assimilated, right? So our parents weren't as traditional because they were brought up with a lot of alcohol and all that stuff. They took on the lifestyles of being white, not native. So you're as a little kid, unless you're exposed to it, you're kind of going to go down that road, because even though you're living in boarding school, you have to go to a mixed school. I mean, bunch of white kids. So their lifestyle is different. They have everything, and don't quite understand as being a kid why you don't have the same thing that they have, right? So it wasn't really encouraged outside of that environment, unless some school teacher went, oh, I really think that you have a talent for that, and would kind of nurture that. But for the most part, it was just something I liked doing, and I think it takes your mind off the situation that you're in to be able to express that to, doesn't matter to who, it's just that you're being able to sit there and kind of take your frustrations out and what you were bothered by and whatnot.
An outlet.
Right, so that was I think, a reason for a lot of it. And because they were in boarding school, they don't really teach you anything that, that as far as crafts or, painting or anything like that. It's just.
Yeah, you're discussing your time at boarding school. Would you mind telling us which one you attended and for how long?
Mission, South Dakota. There's a school there that at the time was run by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and they had a boys' dorm, a girls' dorm, and then they had a cafeteria, and they had the BIA had built a high school there, and built these things, and they built housing for all the teachers and stuff outside there. So it was, and different communities had different things. The Catholic Church, like in St. Francis, was run by brothers, and the BIA kind of ran the one that I was in. And it really, I don't know, it didn't, all it was like I don't know, you're just being held there and educated. But you're not taught your own culture. That's the last part of assimilating you, is that you went to school and learned how to be like them, and that was just it's something that you live with. It's not something, but I mean, as a kid, you know that it's not quite right, because you have you stayed there, and then on certain vacations days like Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff, then your parents would come and get you and take you home, and you get to spend whatever time that is, and then they would bring you back to the boarding school. So there wasn't a lot of teaching of anything, but if you knew when you went home, if you had traditional parents, they would teach you stuff. Or traditional. Somewhere along the line with all that alcoholism and everything, because my belief system was based upon that. And then the Catholics try to teach you how to live their way, and for me, it didn't make any sense. So that was kind of my drawback to it. I mean, that was where it became a rub. It was that, you're constantly having every once a week you have to go to catechism, and they'd preach to you about God. And the only thing that I kind of had to say about it was that if this religion, the Catholic religion, for what we were doing, was that if this is the best people that are supposed to be here that you sent to, convert us, you didn't exactly send the right people, They were not the nicest people in the world. So I was like, you're wanting me to convert to your, belief system, but your people are not exactly the people I want to be around, So it was a different time, and really, it's changed a little bit, but the problem is with the reservation, it's gotten they've gotten poorer than they used to be from when I was a kid. They used to have all this. I mean, they had like bowling alleys in this little town. They had a general store and whatnot. And now they don't, because Walmart moved in about 100 miles away, and then everybody just disappeared. All those small businesses and whatnot. So.
Because you mentioned that your family, at least, were a little bit more traditional. Do you think that really helped you when you were in boarding school and you were getting all of these alternative Christian Catholic ideologies projected or onto you?
I couldn't quite understand it, right? I ended up, but I went to a Catholic priest once and I asked him, I said, I kept getting in trouble because I don't get your view, you know, but I'm, inside of me, it doesn't resonate and I don't understand it, you know, and so I'm always going to be on the wrong side of this. And I said, I don't get it. I said, so you're gonna have to give me something to hang my hat on here because I don't get it. And I asked him, I said, you know, for me, I said, I was brought up to believe that I'm part of the world. I'm just you know, belong to it. I don't, you know, I don't own it. It's just I'm part of that system. So I said, if you don't take care of the earth, the consequences are that you're going to die, because that's just really simple. I said, that's tangible to me. You know, I said, I understand it. If I don't feed a plant that's going to nourish me and keep me healthy, then chances are I'm going to die. So that makes sense to me. I said, but you are telling me that you've got these three guys, as far as I'm concerned, fictional characters, that I'm supposed to ask for this help from them and they're going to help me. I said, that doesn't work with me. I mean, I'm 8 years old and I'm arguing with this priest. And he got really irate about it. And he goes, well, that's where faith comes. And I'm going, still not making any sense, you know. So I just kind of left it at that and went, I'm not going to be able to convince somebody that's not going to be understanding where my point of view is coming from. So, but, so that's don't have hatred towards those people. I just didn't, you know, they had their way and we had our way, and you know, I mean, it's kind of easy to go around them, to go to your way and let them keep believing whatever they want. You know, it's not, it's never been my problem, is how I look at it. So I go around them and I find the people that think the same way I do and believe the things that I do. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a happier life for me. So.
Thank you for sharing that. I guess my next question kind of relates to your experience of art in school. And I know you mentioned that you didn't really think it was special because at the time everyone was also doing a lot of art. But do you think that, I mean, I think you should be proud because there's not so many amazing artists. There is, but there's not at the same time. I think it's really special that, you know, you're a native artist and that you're still working. And I guess, do you have any source of pride for that? Because it did sound like besides in the classroom, there wasn't a lot of positive attention towards people that did arts.
No, I'm due to the fact that I'm look like a white guy, Washichua, which in Lakota that's for a white man. I have a lot of pride in it, in the fact that since I've looked as, because I'm a quarter, I don't know what, I'm 3/4 Lakota, I've always, people around me that I grew up and stuff, I was native, I never was white, right? That was you felt it, you seen it, regardless of having to fight with whites and natives, right? Because one's saying you're not in this, but you're still native. So I'm proud of what I did, and I hope that other people see it, the pride that I have in what I do. I just am not one to go out and say that I am. I mean, I let it speak for itself. You know, this is what I do. If it happens to go across well and people see something, or hopefully I'm expressing the right thing, then I have pride in that. So,
Yeah. I guess as an artist that is a little bit older, how do you feel about up and coming Native or Indigenous artists? Like, have you seen some of the more recent artwork, and does it ever influence the art that you are continuing to make?
yeah, it does. I mean, I'm glad to see younger artists expressing themselves, and the world's changed quite a bit. So I mean, they have a lot of different avenues to express themselves. And for me, I think it's all really neat to watch and see how it does, and if I can have any impact on something like that by encouraging them, or maybe it's something that I can teach them. I don't know. That for me would be really a nice environment. It's just that we're as a Native community in Eugene and Springfield, we have a kind of a separation. We need to have a tighter group of people, that so when those opportunities come up, we're able to, help those people express themselves and whatnot. So whatever it whatever form it takes. So.
If you wouldn't mind expanding on the separation, I did go to University of Oregon, so I know a little bit more about the immediate Longhouse in the Eugene Indigenous community, but not so much about the Springfield community. And it sounds like you've been here in Eugene, Springfield area for a long time, so if you'd feel okay with discussing that a little bit.
Well, it's changed over the years because I used to come to the Longhouse when it was a white longhouse that was here before any of this was built, and we had used to have community potlucks, and we used to do different things, which all came from 4J school district. We had kids in school; they all got together because we used to have a newsletter, and then we'd come here to have potlucks or do different events, and it seems to fluctuate on how we stay as a group. It's like, because for a while there was a lot of students here that were U of O students, and then all of a sudden it kind of tapered off. I don't know what was going on, but there wasn't a lot of Native students, so there wasn't a lot of like NASA, was it NASU?
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of events with that. They were so it kind of just kind of peters out, and it's has
Ebb and flow.
yeah, and I need to. I think that just it needs to be more interaction. So, it's like we started that, or Marcy Middleton started that Native American Arts and Crafts Market. So if we can connect that with Longhouse, with LCC, 4J School District, and create a bigger community of things and events, that we all can go to, that you would find more support, I think, when you're around that group of different. Some of them went to boarding school, but they all kind of have a similar lifestyle. They understand what that's like, so they're more sympathetic to what's going on. But it makes it easier for us all to connect together.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because at least for the Longhouse, it has more students that are in their like late teens, early 20s, versus like Blaine Community College Longhouse versus these other communities. So I definitely think having them connect more would be really great for everyone involved, more of a support system for everyone.
Right.
You mentioned Marcy's Native American Market. Have you attended that, or?
Yeah, I'm one of the members of it.
Would you like to talk about it a little bit?
Well, I think it's, for me anyway, and it's, I think it's important for us to create that avenue for people to have the opportunity to do different things that traditional people do, you know, whether it's jewelry, artwork, dancing, whatever. And this is something that we're still in our infancy, but we're trying to create a bigger connection to people, you know. I mean, we've gotten the city to let us use that building that's really nice. I mean, so it's not like we're in a little hole somewhere, you know. I mean, we're out in the open and we've got the room and the place to express ourselves, you know, and then this city is willing to help us do these things. So we just got to take advantage of the situation that's there, you know.
Encounter non-native people that are using the likeness of native people or heavily inspired native art when they're non-native?
My issue is that they don't understand the culture that they're, you know, exploiting. They're not correct in why harming of the paintings that they have. You know, it's like for me, as an artist, because I'm from South Dakota, they expect me to. I come up. You got a picture of a painting of a wolf, and I'm going. And certain things that are stereotyped, you know, and the way that these artists use this stuff for that they just don't understand, because it's like if I draw a picture of an Indian chief, then that'll be able to sell because people buy it for basically white guilt. They see these pictures, oh yeah, I gotta have a picture, you know, but they don't research it or anything. They'll just take it at face value where this guy that's did it, you know, because you see that all over the place, and there's nothing much you can do about because of social media. They're able to, you know, put this up there and put this for sale, and people don't understand it and don't even really want to research the culture. They'll take what the guy as the artist he expresses, oh, this is what this means, and it may not be true, but it's still out there. They'll accept it as being truthful, and they, while I'm, you know, supporting Native, no, you're not. You're supporting a guy that's, you know, exploiting our cultures to make money off of it. But there's really nothing you can do. The only thing that I do is that I express that I'm a Lakota artist. I'm not a native artist, right? I don't know what Klamath people do. I don't know what Navajos do. That's a different culture. They have different belief systems. They, you know, prize certain things that's different. So it's like I stick within what I know. So when people are asking me questions about my art and how I'm expressing it, this is Lakota artwork. This is what I grew up with. I know these things, and I'm trying to give you the best truth that I can from my point of view where I'm standing. I'm not taking somebody's, you know, so I'm, you know, taking a bunch of pictures of what the Godfather, and I'm selling it as gangster stuff. You know, I'm making money off of that. But I'm exploiting that because I don't really know what Italian culture is or anybody else. I'm just taking what has been popularized by people, and then I, you know, exploit it. I put it out there as true, and it's not. So I can only be true to what I know. You know, and I think that any artist that wants to express himself as being a native artist, you know, if you stay within the belief system of what you know, if I'm Navajo, there's certain things about Navajos, but you know these things because you grew up with them. And all you're doing is expressing what your culture is to other people and hope they through this you can get them to understand it, because you want them to ask intelligent questions. You don't want them to be asking stereotypical things that have been wrong forever. So you're hoping to try to correct that, and that's what I try to do anyway.
Yeah, the importance of refusing to pander to the white gaze. I really like what you had to say about that, to be honest. It's good to know that there's role models that are very staunch in their morals and set standards that children and the younger generations can look up to. With that, I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about what it's like to be an artist in the Eugene-Springfield area specifically.
Yeah, I've been a graphic artist to make money for most of my career. I became a fine artist more only because I could afford to do those things. It's well received, I guess, but it's not something that I don't think you could really make money at if you're looking at to do that. The one thing I've learned from all these years, I've talked to artists that are very are more popular, are well known. But the one thing is that fame doesn't equate money. So, you can be really famous and not make a living at it, just because people heard of you and know of you. So you have to do it because you like doing it. You can't do it because, you think that you're going to make all this money. It doesn't work that way, you do stuff that you're hoping what you're doing is going to open up that platform of, changing the view of what white people think it is. And you're hoping that, for me, because here I'm living in, people are from Klamath and the different tribes like Siletz and Grand Round, their imagery and their culture is different from mine. So I'm out here promoting Lakota artwork in a total different format than other people. So it's like they identify it to a degree, but it's still not their culture. But I'm not going to go and start making paintings of people of their culture, because I don't. Not that I don't want to know it. It's just I don't know enough about it.
Right. It's not your place as someone
Right.
that's not a part of that tribe to
Right.
depict that necessarily.
So what I do is try to create an opportunity. If somebody wants to know something about the Lakota people, I'll tell them from my point of view, what it is. I'm not trying to take somebody else's culture and share it with people. So when it doesn't come across right,
What would you say to up and coming Native artists, and just do you have any words of encouragement for them?
My words of encouragement are just do it, just keep doing it, because it's not a matter of, first of all, you got to really like what you're doing, and you're going to, stumble and fall quite a bit, because most artwork is like people come up to you and they'll tell you, oh, I used to do that, but I was too much of a perfectionist. And I went, if you look at my artwork, I said, that's a whole series of mistakes. I said, I learned a little bit on this one and I keep that, and I make another painting, and that thing that I learned from that one makes this one better. And it's just a matter of just doing what you want to do, and if it's about your culture, stay true to that and just keep moving forward. You can't let these people dictate what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Because in the end, you can't pander to the public. You have to show your real self, who you are, and what you believe, and if you do that, then your artwork's going to come out showing that, you know, and people go, that's relatable to me, you know, that's something I understand that are from your own culture, you know. They go, yeah, that's, and they will encourage you to be better at it, you know. And there's just, you can't just give up. You gotta, if it's something that you like doing, you just gotta keep doing it. It'll eventually get to the point where you're gonna be more happy with it and you're more prideful in it and stuff. But you have to do the work to get there. You know, you can't just, if you fail once, you can't just give it up. You just gotta keep going through it. So.
How do you maintain connection with your homelands after living so long in the Northwest? How do you keep that, you know, feeling good and whatnot?
I have relatives that still live on the reservation. I talk to them constantly. I have a little brother that lives there, my older brother, and I have a couple nephews and stuff. So I talk to them, and they kind of tell me what's going on the reservation. And I also get feeds from the tribe that I get on Facebook and stuff, so I kind of get an idea of what's going on. And so you're still connected, but you're disconnected at the same time, you know. It's because there's, I mean, like anybody that's lived on a reservation, it's a very small world. You know, I mean, everybody, relatives know each other or, you know, different things. So it's like, when you talk about certain people, they go, oh yeah, I know that. They live over at Grass Mountain or they live here. So you know, just different things that are going on there. But in a small community like that, but you just got to understand that they are living in that small community and they, you know, their life may not be as, or what they perceive as being more exciting here than it is there, you know. I mean, so, but they're just people trying to get along. So, I think anybody would probably want them to do more, but then at the same time, it's just now coming up. I think that with the political situation that we're in, if it goes the way that it goes back to really having a real political system that's operating, then the opportunities are going to be better. I mean, we've got the first Native American governor in Minnesota now, and Bev Hollins, you know. So I mean, there's some things that are looking up, but there's a lot of changes that have to go, and unfortunately, it's something that eventually you have to get up and say something about it. You know, you can't be if you want something, you have to ask for it, and you have to keep doing that. I mean, it's because the way that the system is now, we're kind of the most unrecognized people. You know, I mean, for Native people, you never hear about them, never see them. You know, they said 40% of this country think that there isn't any Native Americans anymore. So, you know, in order for us to change that, we're going to have to be more visible and be more outward. You know, because I guess the white guilt of all this stuff, you know, you're kind of, they're kind of fumbling all over themselves to get, I got to help you. And I'm going, no, we're totally capable of standing up for ourselves. We just got to have the, you know, whatever your specialty or whatever you're doing for a living, you know, you have to keep that in your mind that the Native community is something that can use your skills or, you know, help us become more visible. I think that's the only way I can see that, you know, for it to change, because we can't just, you know, they'd love to see us all go away, you know, because then they don't have to deal with that, you know. So,